I'm turning 30, 14th of September, and I'm born in Mafikeng. I recently found out that I'm Chopi by tradition. Chopi, Tjopi. Chopi is a tribe from Mozambique.
Okay.
Yeah, so we came to South Africa 1837, I believe.
Right. How did you find the parcel? You went
yeah. I did some show called Who Do You Think You Are? And I found this all out. I always knew, but like our family just doesn't talk about these things until you actually physically research it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this was for the show.
Yeah, it was for the show, and then like you go through a journey. It's kind of like an eye opener that if we actually all dig deep, we'll find out that we're somehow related. We're somehow from other parts of Africa, assembled. And even finding out the close relations between the Sotho Bafokeng people and the Tswana Bafokeng people. They are of the same seed. It's just colonialism, missionaries, and all that stuff. Splitting stuff up. I mean, we pick up these things from some of my anthropologist friends and whatnot. But it's just interesting digging deep and finding out your roots and whatnot.
When did you start rapping?
When did I start rapping? At the age of 12. I heard Will Smith rapping, and I inquired about it, and very soon I started writing my own lyrics, learning more about 12. Yeah, and then you start finding out about they're in relation, rhyming is like rapping is almost similar to nursery rhymes. You could do a Humpty Dumpty in a rhythmic form. As long as it's got patterns in a stanza format, it rhymes or one.
Yeah.
The basic basic rules to rapping. And then I think as time went, understanding that, I started later now understanding, putting concepts to songs, laying out a whole song and whatnot. It was a process, but eventually it's all been practice, really.
So we can say you started at around 1992.
That's perfect, yeah. Exactly, 1992, my brother.
And who inspired you to rap?
Yeah, it was Will Smith, like him rapping. I started learning about rapping, from him, and then I started seeing similarities on the Dikopelo tsa Setswana, like I go to Wesele, so the Dikopelo things like they rhyme, they're all in a pattern format. If you stop singing and you rap the words, it will still work, and later the hymn because John Wesley, the missionary who came down, he learned the language and then he applied music format, Kaswana or whatever languages they did. So that's when I started understanding the between the lines of music, and realizing that actually certain words do rhyme, and it's not just about when you write a rap, it's not just basically about. So if you're gonna say leave, you can't, because the whole sentence ends with an E. You can't say you're gonna put whatever else that has an E at the end. It has to be either heave, like it has to be like what's this word? Sense. Harmonics, yeah. Harmonics of the word must make sense and whatnot. So yeah, it was just for that, But commercially, to rap commercially, to go back to your question, I was inspired by Notorious, because it was a time when I was young, low self-esteem, I was fat. Okay, I still am fat, but young, low self-esteem, and here's this guy who's ugly, fat, sounds good, and I thought if he could do it, I could do it as well. So I got into that.
Okay. What's the difference between hip hop and rap in your?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the difference between hip hop and rap, really. Hip hop is a whole school altogether. Rap, I believe, falls within hip hop. Hip hop is made up of DJing, MCing, b-boy, graffiti. From what I understand, and MCing, the moving the crowd as an MC is what creates rap, which is rap was an acronym, I think, for rhythm and poetry, So that's what I understand about it,
Okay.
But Muzako is something totally different altogether. People think it's a subgenre of hip hop, and it's not.
Oh,
It's not. And
it falls in the genre of hip hop.
I'll explain why though. Motswako, unlike hip hop, is just basic. If you actually just listen to the word itself, the word is Setswana for mixture. The art of mixing, different genres, different melodies, different sounds, backgrounds together to form one solid sound. People have been doing that for years. You have hip hop guys using a jazz sample, and they are just rapping, or you have who can I give an example of? You have Michael or Dolly Parton doing a song with Ladysmith Black Mambazo. It's a country, but it's got Skatamia and it sounds alternative. People have been doing it, but they'll give it all kinds of names: world music, black music, or Afro, whatever. People call it all kinds of stuff, and we're just saying that's Motswako. That's mixing stuff up together. Ishmael himself, I don't know whether he did gospel, kwaito, R&B, hip hop, Malaland, Crank. He's somewhere in between. That's Motswako, Even Wyclef, whether he does reggae, hip hop, salsa, R&B, like Wyclef, if you actually try to think about it, what does Wyclef do? It's not reggae, it's not hip hop, it's not R&B, it's a mixture of all of those things together, So Motswako is really that. And because now it started off being represented by somebody who comes from Mafikeng, somebody who speaks Setswana, somebody who raps also. People think that it's Northwest rap in Setswana, or it's rap in vernacular, All those things are true, but it's not the answer. It's just truth of omission, Basically, when this whole Stone is the one who came up with the concept of Motswako. Stone is the one who named it Motswako because he was doing a song. Yes. Because at the time, I don't know if this is fun. At the time, he was doing a song with Mango Groove, and this song he was doing this reggae piece in elements of rap and in Setswana and English. So he said he's calling that Motswako,
Yeah.
So it just started there, and then how I understood it, I was like, there was a point when I came from Mafikeng, went to the Bantu schools, primary school, middle school, and then my parents took me to St. Albans College in Pretoria. And Ghana, I was a bit detached from South Africa, I was living in this boarding school. I was all about Biggie Smalls, living a dream, and I started realizing that, there's some, I like rap, I like hip hop music, whatever, but I can't play it around my parents, so some of it doesn't work, I like it, but I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't spend my money to buy a hip hop CD. I like R&B, yeah, I used to buy R&B, so that's what I liked choral music, but I wouldn't buy the CDs. I like white music, but I didn't relate, so I didn't relate to it, It wasn't a case of there's no content. There is content, it's just the way they were using it. But I couldn't relate to it, so I didn't buy it. So I like also gospel music. There was some gospel music I liked, but I wouldn't buy a full gospel music CD. So I was like, imagine combining all these elements together, I rap, I like R&B, I like singing, I love choral music, I love alternative, I love live music, everything, I could merge all those things together, and rapping was just a medium that I used to communicate. I could have been a singer and still I'd be doing Motswako. I could have just been, I don't know what else, but rap that I do, it doesn't mean that now I'm a hip-hop guy who raps in vernacular. There's guys from Mafikeng who say they don't do motswako. They do the purest form of hip hop in Setswana. You know what I'm saying? And that's just hip hop altogether. That's totally different from what motswako was about, you know, because hip hop, where it began, they'll start telling you about, it was all about the break beat, you know, and they took LPs, which I don't understand, and I don't need to understand, you know. I just know what I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a combination of two questions. I want to know what's your definition of Pantsula, and why did you call yourself hip hop Pantsula?
Right.
Well, Pantsula really, it's what we know of it, right? It's associated to those guys that used to wear white gloves, checkered shirts, all stars, dancing on the street. Also, it's associated to thugs, you know what I'm saying, the Pantsula movie. Also, it's uniquely South African. You can go anywhere in the world. If somebody says Pantsula, you know they're not from Angola, they're not from Botswana, they're not from Kenya, they're from Zanzibar. They know what a Pantsula is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, at the time, I was mentioning on a rap song that I call myself hip hop Pantsula, which is to mean that, you know, I might come off like, because a lot of the times back in high school, people didn't like me, boom rapper, you know, because people would say like, go to the ciphers, where. I remember Dumi used to go to another school, dance, up there in town, and they were like, go battle those boys from dance, you know, those rappers. I'm like, that's another league altogether. I don't battle, I don't do beef, I don't do those things, you know, like. So I don't understand what's going on there. What's my point again? What are we talking about now?
Why could
yes. So I was like, you know, I'm really like that guy who come off looking like, because I used to wear like, you know, my Supergas, you know, my Chuck Taylor, you know, golf shirt, you know, with a dory, and people think that, you know, I'm Lepanzola, you know, but not really. It was just to protect yourself, because you don't go out looking like how you really are, like what some rapper, the bourgeois. People will rob you, you know what I'm saying? So you need to look like, you're part of the people, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But as much as I might look like a Pantsula, like I'm a hip hopper, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a rapper, you know what I'm saying? So it was a way of explaining what I do, you know, but it wasn't to say that I understood the of hip hop and I carefully thought it out, you know, like it was just a phrase, you know, and I really called myself Jabba when I grew up. The person who said I must call myself hip hop Pantsula was Vusi Leo. Like, he heard that line on one of my songs. He's like, why don't you call yourself that? I was like, man, that's just to describe who I am, you know. I'm the lyrical Induna, you know. I'm the hip hop Pantsula, you know. And he's like, man, that's a good name. And I thought it's a sentence, you know. You need a short name, Jabba, like Pop. You remember it anytime. Like, man, Jabba's Americanized. We need to kill the American ing. I was like, oh, whatever, man. Like, Vusi Leo was the artist and repertoire manager of EMI at the time, when CCP was still building a record company, signing young artists. I remember Mendoza was just signed for Zotola Ganja and Teleconin. They just taken him out of Chiscop. TK was there, Speedy was there, Chopper, Ganche, the guys from Yizo. And I was the only rapper guy. They were like, yeah, you know, we'll see how it goes, but if Northwest doesn't buy music, try Zulu. And I was like, man, I can't do Zulu, you know. So they shelved me until I made sense, you know. And
in terms of global hip hop, because part of my topic is localizing global phenomena. What is your view on global hip hop? The type of hip hop Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, their messages, what type of messages are they portraying across compared to what you do?
I don't know. I think, you know what, I was telling somebody that I was watching a documentary on 50 Cent about how he came up, you know, and I thought that basically what we're realizing is that hip-hop was built on crime. Hip-hop was built on killing other people, you know. It was built on depriving communities, selling drugs to people, you know, like the whole analogy of I'm a hustler comes from people who used to sell drugs to push other things. But that's also another bigger picture, because it now comes from poverty, depriving the community wanting another way out, being desperate, going through other means to survive, you know, at any cost, you know. And yes, it's sad, you know, that it has happened that way. And I guess those sad people's lives who are now crack addicts and all kinds of drug addicts from the hustle that these guys built, these empires that the hip-hop greats have built, their lives are not in vain also, because now we're starting to learn as black people how to run our own independent record company strategy models and whatnot, from seeing how the Jay-Z's and what all of those guys do. So the difference between, I think, what we're trying to establish locally, and I speak also for hip-hop because there's also other guys who are doing great things in hip-hop, like Slicker and Proverb and, Pro Kid and all that stuff. There's people who are really doing great stuff in hip-hop. Ours is going to be stemmed on education, on knowledge, on awareness, unlike there in the States where it was like desperate measures, like they didn't know how to use music instruments, so they had to sample from LPs, that's why the LP thing started, that whole thing of like, I think I might give away, like flossing money. You're thinking like, when South African kids do that, you ask yourself one question: do you have rich parents? Or do you sell drugs? You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely don't make that money from rap. I know. So you have to work hard to do that.
True.
So, we need to stop emulating things that we don't know where they stem from. It goes back to the whole. There's a story that my mom once told me about. I don't know if it's relevant to what we're talking about, but this lady, she always cut. Whenever she made like a scaftino lunchbox for her kid, she'd always cut the bologna into a nice square and put it in the sandwich, whatever. And one day, this woman grew up still also she's married and everything. She's cutting the bologna also in a square for her husband, whatever. Until someone's like, "What the hell? Why the hell do you always do this?" She's like, "No, I just like it this way." Until one day she asked her mom. Her mother was old, I always like the way you cut my bologna for me because you make me like one of those sandwiches, And she's like, bologna is bologna, Joe. I don't know why you always. She's like, "No, but I like the way you always used to cut it." She's like, "The reason why you cut it that way is because in order for me to fry it, we had a small little square pan. I couldn't put it as a circle,
Right.
So it shows that people follow trends without understanding where they're from,
Right.
So this whole thing of money flossing, whatever, riding this chromed out car. I've got 5 cars in my garage. Those people do all kinds of things to live that life, And yeah, I think that's the thing about South African thing. I think localizing hip hop is not about rapping in vernacular. It's about applying our values. Like a show like Big Brother Africa, I feel like it's corrupting Africa, Joe. I feel like they're not. Come on, man. There's things that just shouldn't be happening. And with somebody like a Big Brother figure, they should have been on something no, guys, come on. In Africa, even if it's, yes, we are lying to the public, people are actually, they all smoke, whatever. But let's paint a different picture out there. We can't just give these guys alcohol, cigarettes, and expect them to, have sex with each other, because that's what it's almost like it's a Sigmund Freud experiment. They're trying to see what's going to happen if we do this and that, whatever. So I think we need to, as much as media is being used, propaganda is being used to make people think a certain way about the world, like how they sensationalize diseases, poverty, wars, and all that stuff. We need to use media to sensationalize peace, knowledge, thinking, logically, see yourself grown up, see yourself, understand that you're going to change, this whole thing of, I don't know, man. I just, what I'm trying to do with this thing is to try and make people realize a bigger picture using this medium, but people are just so caught up in wanting this to be the next big thing. Is this the next Kwaito? Is this the next? And I'm like, I don't know what it is. All I'm doing is fusing a lot of different styles to create one sound. It's called Motswako. Even Motswako is a lifestyle, I feel. You don't have to rap to be a Motswakolista. I am Jopi, my mother's Tswana, her mother was Xhosa, my dad's mother was Zulu. When I go to my family reunion, it's like generations, everyone's just speaking their own language, but we all understand each other. Some speak Shangaan, some speak Zulu, but we are Zambos, at the end of the day. So that in itself is Motswako, And some lady came to me and said, her dad is Jewish, her mom is German. She grew up in an African society. She's not sure. Her husband is colored, you know. And I'm like, she's like, I feel like I'm Motswako. Can I say I'm Motswako? I'm like, yes, Janet, you are Motswako. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is what's up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's very interesting. I'd like to find out what message you're trying to send out in the song Harambe.
Harambe was just coincidental. Fresh was doing a thing where he was asking rappers to come through and say what they know about June 16, you know, rap a little something about what they know about June 16. So everyone had like manuscripts, like, you know, like Steve Biko or whatever, like, you know, Chris Hani, etc. And I remember like thinking, like, you know, I grew up in Putazwana. It was a bubble, you know, we knew what we know, you know. My first encounter of a white person was one speaking Setswana to me. Like, I don't remember, I don't know any of this. I know what our parents tell us, you know, always after 11, we were like, yeah, these Buddhists, whatever that, but we didn't know what the hell they were talking about, that one. So my approach to that rap was, you know, I'm not a political person. I'm not a political, like, I'm not going to fake it. I'm not the type to say, fake an image, you know, for the sake of the whole consciousness thing, you know. It's all cool to be conscious, you know. I've never been called a Kappa before, honestly. I was only called a Kappa much later in my life, you know. I can't imagine seeing cops crashing through my front door. There's people who tell me how a human smells, like, yeah, no, but when and I can just imagine that growing up like that, you know. So I was trying to express that I don't know any of that, but I do understand that because of your struggles, you know, today I'm wearing a blue blazer. I'm sitting next to a white kid in Pretoria. I go to the Rand Afrikaans University because of you. You know, I'm a star. You know, and star, I need to break down the word star, not in the conventional sense that you think. Like I always say, a star is somebody who just outdoes their full potential. Like what you think you can do, you outdo that. You know, if it means you came out of high school with school leaving and all of a sudden you got a degree somehow. I don't know how you did it. Maybe you went to go and do like extra courses wherever. But at the end of the day, you have a degree. People know you for having a school leaving. That's being a star, you know. Because of that, the struggles of June 16, whatever, we are stars now. We drink in any bar. You know, there's no Lex Blancas thing going on. So that was the approach of the song. And Harambe, the word, means pull together in Swahili.
Okay.
Which later explained a lot of